People of the State of Michigan versus Jeffrey Keith Huss, 2023514FC. Mr. Huss is here today. It's been noticed out for a plea. So, Mr. Huss, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Gabriel, what's the offer in the case?
Your Honor, Mr. Huss would enter a plea of guilty to count 1 of the information as filed. In return, we will dismiss count 2 in the habitual offender notice. I'm also making a sentencing recommendation that his minimum sentence be at the bottom end of the guidelines, or the minimum end of the guideline, as scored by the court.
Is that correct, Mr. George?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Huss, then my understanding is that you'll be pleading to a charge of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, which is a felony punishable by up to life in prison or any term of years, mandatory lifetime electronic monitoring, mandatory AIDS STD testing. DNA was to have been taken at the time of arrest. This also could be a consecutive sentence if convicted of any other, but that's not relevant because the other charge will be dismissed. In addition, it's subject to the Sex Offender Registration Act. They would dismiss the other counts and they would dismiss the habitual offender. They would also recommend that your minimum sentence not exceed the bottom of the guidelines. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes.
And Mr. Gabriel, you indicate that this was done in consultation with the victim's family and the victim. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. So the Crime Victims' Rights statute has been complied with. All right, Mr. Huss, how do you plead to the charge of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree?
Guilty.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what we've talked about in court today?
No.
Anybody threaten you?
No.
Are you doing this of your own free will?
Yep.
Do you understand that if I accept your plea, you'll not have a trial of any kind, and that you'll be giving up your right to a trial? And that you'll be giving up all the rights that you would have had at trial. Those include the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, to have the witnesses against you appear at trial, to question the witnesses that appear against you, to have the court ordinary witnesses you have for the defense to appear at trial, to remain silent during the trial and to not have that silence used against you, and to testify at trial if you want to testify. You understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yep.
You also understand that if your plea is accepted, you may be giving them the right to appeal certain issues that would otherwise be appealable if convicted at trial. Further, any appeal from your conviction and sentence pursuant to the plea would be by leave and not by right.
Yes.
Now, it's alleged here that between December 29th of 2019 and January 4th of 2020, you were in the city of Three Rivers, the county of St. Joseph, and the state of Michigan. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, it's alleged in count 1 that during that period of time, at one point you did engage in sexual penetration, to wit, penis, vagina, with a child who is at least 13, but less than 16 years of age, and the defendant was related to the victim by blood or affinity to the 4th degree. So did you have sexual penetration with a child who is over the age of 13, well, was 13 but less than 60?
Yes.
And was that person a member of your household?
Yes.
And were you related to her within the bond or affinity to the 4th degree? So that would mean that she'd either be a child or stepchild or stepniece or a blood relative or step relative. Okay? Yes. All right. And are either counsel satisfied there's a factual basis?
I am, Your Honor. Your Honor, I might have been flipping a page. We did have Mr. Huss sworn. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, Your Honor. I think there's a factual basis.
I agree, Your Honor.
Now, I didn't ask you, Mr. Huss, but are you on probation or parole anywhere?
Probation.
Do you understand that a conviction were you on probation between December 29th, 2019 and January 4th, 2020?
Yes.
You understand the conviction in that case, in this case, could be the basis for the probation violation in that case?
It was for child support, a 90-day misdemeanor.
Okay, all right. And are counsel aware of any other promises, threats, or inducements then?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Has the court complied with the court rule?
Court has.
Yes, the court has.
I find the plea made is accurate, understanding, voluntary. There's a factual basis, therefore I accept the plea. We'll set this for sentencing on July 2nd. Bonds canceled. Mr. Huss, fill out that packet and get that to the deputy so they can do your pre-sentence report. And then we'll see you back here for sentencing on July 2nd.